In this video, I'm going to show you how I took my AI Easter egg design and I made some blurred edges to soften the edges per a request from the live that was done the other day in Canva, because typically the lines will be harsh like the way that's shown right there. So what I did was searched for blurred lines, and I want to use white blurred lines. I removed the background before I began, and also I'm going to expand because the egg is cut off right there at the top. It's kind of cut off in my AI image. So if you want to expand and get the top of the egg, this is what you do right here. Click expand and it will generate 4 images, and you just pick the one that you like the best, that looks the best. Since the egg is cut off, it will show me ones that are not cut off. And even put a little bit of grass up there too. So I think I'm going to go with that one. Yep. Now I have to remove the background again because you see that black around there. So in the elements, I'm looking for a white blur, like the one that is shown right there, the oval shape. And I'm going to place it sporadically around the edges, and then I'll be turning it as well just to give it some shape. So you just duplicate right there with the plus button and duplicate. And you'll duplicate until you have them all filled for your liking. And what you want to make sure of, that you just keep it close to the edge there. And also, if you're printing on a white shirt, this works great. It could probably work on a black shirt too, but white is typically what we're doing with sublimation anyway. So this is how you would go about softening the edges in Canva. So I'm just going to go through and I will be placing those around the perimeter of the design. And that little plus button next to the trash can, that's how you duplicate another one. So right there's a little handlebar where I'm turning it to kind of get that corner there. So I'm just making sure I don't take away too much of it. So I'm trying to play around with it and see where it should go. So now I'm going to add some text to say Happy Easter, and I'm just going to put a name, Sarah, on here. So you just go to the text box and then you can add the name wherever you want it to be or the wording that you want. Oh, I went back. I decided to group it all together first. So that's how you group. You just put a box around the whole thing. And now I'm going to add the wording. So it was just acting up, so I had to click off and click back onto it. So now I'm just going to change the font, and I like the Amarillo font, so I'm just going to use that one. And I'm just moving it up to where I want it to be placed. And I'm going to change the color on it. Just going to play around with a few colors, and that's the color picker where you can go and choose a color within your design to pick the right color for your font. So now I'm going to put an outline around the font, and I can change the color of the outline as well. So I can get my color picker again and choose another one of those colors that's in there. And now I'm going to set the thickness of the outline. So this is like an offset. So I just duplicate it. And I'm going to change that and put a name to just say Sarah. Just something simple. You can stretch out the corners to make it the size that you want it to be. And sometimes it's a little hard to move it because there's a crossbar and it's not there. So if you just click off of it and back on, then you should be able to move your font. So that looks good. I mean, but you can try other colors as well. So I was just playing around with the curvature. You can curve it if you like. See what it looks like. So I'm just playing around with the design to see what I like the best. I'm going to curve the name Sarah just to see what it looks like. And I didn't like it too much, so I think it looks better straight. And with these cursive fonts, I was trying to decide if I wanted to space those letters out. So that's what I'm about to do right here. Space them. But you can see because it's cursive, it broke that R. So that didn't work too well. So I just have to put it back together. Or use the back button. And that way you can just go back to where you were so you don't mess up anything if you can't line it up. So that's what I did. Just use the back button. There it is, nice and perfect now. I'm just playing around with the colors to try to find something that goes well. Since it's so colorful already, just trying to make it stand out against the colorful eggs that are shown. So that's what it looks like that way. That kind of looks the same, even though the offsets are kind of opposite one another in the Happy Easter and the Sarah. But it looks okay, but I just really wasn't satisfied still. So I'm thinking like another color would look good. So I'm just playing around with it to see which color will look best. So that looks best to me. So that's what I'm gonna just go with that and change the Happy Easter as well. I'm gonna do that in just a second. Go to effects and then the outline. And I have to change that to black. And that looks a little better to me, considering all the colors that's happening already. But I really didn't like the curvature of the word Happy Easter, so I'm going to make that straight like the way that it was. I think that looks better. So I'm just centering it. And when that line comes up there in the middle, it's just letting you know that it's centered in the middle. So I'm just playing around with the spacing of the letters because it just looks like it needs something else in this design to me in that space. So I'm going to actually bring in another element in just a second. So I'm going to go and grab an Easter bunny from the elements. And the one I chose is for Pro, so you do need to have a paid account for this. So there's the Easter bunny. He's huge, so I didn't need him to be that big, but it was a cute design that they have there. So I was just trying to play around with it to decide where would I want to place him. So that's what I'm doing right there, just trying to position him without it being like too much. So I just flipped him to the other side to see if he should go right there. And I'm still having a little bit of an issue with him being down there with all the other eggs. Just blend in a little too much. So I found a better place for him. You'll see here shortly. Right in there. I think he'll look good there, and bring down that word Happy Easter down. And that looks cute. Just give it another little dimension and just makes it look like he's playing in the grass with all the other eggs. And then I'm highlighting the whole thing, and then I'm going to group it so that it doesn't move. And when it moves, it'll move all together. So now you just go to save. And what I like to do is actually show this design on a t-shirt just to see what it would look like. So I saved it right there as a PNG. And then you can bring the size up if you want to. But with these type of images, I always go into Photoshop and make sure that I put my DPI to 300, because I don't know how you do that in Canva. I don't know that it can. So you see right there where the white is around everything on that t-shirt image. That's because it should be printed on a on a white shirt. That way that white won't show up the way that it is showing there. So I'm going to show you what it will look like on a white t-shirt. And Canva has these t-shirts here. So I'm just going to change this shirt to white. And then I'm going to choose it to be for a youth. So it's a little girl that's going to be shown on the screen. And that's what the t-shirt will look like for the size that it is. If you want it larger, then you just have to change it to inches or pixels, increase your pixels. So you can make it bigger on her shirt or whatever size you want. You can play with the size of your art and you can change it. There is a resize feature, so you can go ahead and do that if that's too small on the shirt. But that's what it looks like on the final product. Thanks for watching.